Hello and welcome to today's episode of Crypto. My God, things are just all over the place. I've got some good news. I've got some grift news. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first and foremost, as I mentioned yesterday, Paul Atkins is sworn in to the SEC. This means that they can actually get going. So without an SEC chair, while they've been doing a lot of positive actions for our industry, the machine was not actually turned on and churning. You need the chair to be sitting in their seat in order to pass a lot of the rules and regulations that they're in charge of overseeing. So it is exciting that we finally got a confirmation that he's ready to go, and hopefully we can get really churning out on the proper regulations to turn this industry from a grift to a gift. And that is what I hope to see. So that is cool. We are seeing that following his confirmation, we have a new crypto task force roundtable. I do think that this is one of the most positive elements that we're getting out of this administration. They are meeting through these roundtable events with a lot of the crypto industry insiders, the operators, the people that actually work inside of this business and watch it turn day to day. So what we're seeing with the new agenda is around crypto custody. Now, this is something that wasn't really present in the ICO era of 2017, became a little bit more mature in the last cycle, and is extremely relevant when we talk about de-risking the industry. Custody is when you engage with a crypto product, are those held with a custodian? It's like a bank. Of course, we are removing the self-sovereignty nature of cryptocurrency in these ideas, but a lot of things like ETFs, like scalable traditional finance infrastructure, they need a qualified custodian who can take out insurance, who has anti-theft and prevention and mechanisms, and really takes the hacking, the exploit shit extremely seriously. Obviously, we see it happen time to time with like Bybit, but we haven't really seen the custodians lose any of their currency. So that is a very big positive. And when we get in here, we can see it on the panelists. We see Fireblocks, Anchorage Digital, Fidelity, the bank, Kraken, the exchange, Exodus Movement, another custodian, BitGo. So a lot of this is the underpinnings of how you build real sophisticated and regulated product. The crypto itself needs to be secure in order to de-risk other products that may add their own risk, leverage up, things like that. But at the base, you either need to be self-sovereign, which means owning your own custody is the same as having dollars in your house or gold under your bed, or you want a trusted custodial partner like a bank that again can offer insurance against losses. That's where we begin to mature. So this is all pretty exciting. So I quickly went to my handy dandy AI friend and asked how Paul Atkins has demonstrated his pro-crypto stance, and we get a lot of the things coming from the policy and the actions of the SEC. This is to show that a lot of the walking back of the past 4 years is coming from Atkins himself, right? The permission is coming from the top. And what we're seeing is the formation of the crypto task force. I don't need to go into that, but the rescinding of controversial crypto accounting guidance like the broker rule. This is something that would have absolutely been impactful. And of course, dropping enforcement actions against major firms, Kraken and Coinbase, but that also signals to smaller enforcement action plays that we are more open for business. And I would say the smaller enforcement actions are more important to me. Coinbase and Kraken, they're very clear, obvious targets, but things like Library, in that case, things like Stoner Cats, I mean, independent projects that were, Stoner Cats wanted to bring a cartoon that you had some ownership into the world. And like for them to be bankrupted due to enforcement actions is utterly insane. So issued statements clarifying certain stablecoins pegged to fiat currencies. So stablecoin regulation, signaled openness to reviving and progressing the long-stalled crypto ETF applications. So all of those ETFs that are coming to light, again, you can see how much activity just having a pro-crypto SEC chair is bringing to us. Now, Atkins himself is personally involved. He's got advisory roles like in Reserve, RSR, He has significant investments in the crypto sector. We like to see some people have skin in the games. I know there's obviously corruption concerns, but like you should, if you're participating, know what you're touching here. He's got a consulting firm, Potomac Global Partners. He advises crypto banks, exchanges, DeFi platforms. I mean, this is very big regulatory stuff. And I'm sure he's had to make some distance with that now taking his official position. So this is very good. He calls for rational, principled crypto regulations, describes crypto as exciting. So like, fuck yes, this guy is positive. Now, something to really take into consideration with the recent market moves, right? We've seen Bitcoin going up to 93,000, really trading alongside gold as gold has exploded. And today I woke up to a very early announcement from the Wall Street Journal, which is that the White House considers slashing tariffs to de-escalate the China trade war. And I think we've all seen that this is just becoming a very stupid kind of farce, right? The beautiful things about tariffs, I guess, to Trump's mind, is that they don't have a ceiling, as we've seen with US and China. He just keeps adding percentage numbers. You can go to infinite percent when there is no ceiling. So he's had a really fun time being like, 50%, 123%, 250, whatever. Obviously, China's not budging. I think they have a lot of wiggle room. And in many ways, I do think that they will become the winner of this trade war. Basically, the only way we get out is the complete economic collapse of China, but they are the manufacturing powerhouse and they're in a pretty solid seat. This also gives them an opening to have conversations with the rest of the world and to hammer out at any weak point that is involved in Pax Americana and replace it with the global epoch of Pax Sino, or however you look at it. Probably compartmentalizing it into the West US, into the Mid-East, Saudis, and into the East China, but who knows how this all plays out. I'm no macro expert. Now, I wake up to this, right? So in the morning, they're going to de-escalate the trade war. Then you start getting into it, and this Walter Bloomberg account has been just doing a great job, right? To comment on the Wall Street Journal of lowering tariffs in China, but would be surprised if they went down in a mutual way. Then, an hour later, this is all the same conversation. No unilateral offer from Trump to cut China tariffs. Full China trade deal may take 2 to 3 years. The entirety of the presidential term. We do not have timeframes to start of China talks, and will have to take place at lower levels than Trump and Xi. Okay, so we're not taking it too seriously. So all of that is to say, while the Wall Street Journal reported some lightning in this tariff war with China, we don't actually have any substance behind that. I mean, just one crack in the, veneer of Trump as a dominant player in this tariff war, that might be happening, but this is all a lot of BS to me. Now, one side note, a little less crypto related, but I think is just a signal to the noise, is that a lot of the people on the MAGA front are saying that Trump is picking the everyman. He's going with the retail investor, and a lot of this pain is for the gain of the little man. I just don't really see that happening. If anyone followed along earlier in the week, we saw Nike just completely spike, right? Their price went from a huge dip into a huge rip. Same with Vietnamese ETFs. And suddenly it seems like there's a closed door meeting with the institutional investors that says this closed doors meeting with investors that talks about a de-escalation with China and even an agreement being reached with Vietnam. So it's a little bit absurd to see them out in the public say they're looking for the common folk, and then in private they're kind of giving this insider information. We are seeing a lot of trades happening across both crypto and equities that do not seem to be on the level. And I think what's important to me here is just that bleed between crypto and equities, because we are moving towards a merge. I have said this before. I do believe that traditional finance will bring all of their activity on chain. The Robinhood episode harkens back to this a lot, but this is all just developing sort of a consistent framework that we're seeing. And I'd be remiss but to close with the latest and greatest grift from this administration. So this morning I see from Frank Chaparro this note, and he says, "This is so dumb, laughing my ass off, but the Trump meme coin is pumping itself today by putting out this offer to register to connect for the Trump dinner." And it says, "Have dinner with President Trump, the most exclusive invitation in the world. Please connect your wallet to register for the dinner. This is only for the top 220 Trump coin holders." I think this is actually brilliant. If you had said that there was any sort of number of Trump you had to hit, like whatever, you would leave it very closed-ended, right? The market would have a satiated, finite buying opportunity. To say that it's the top 220 and what a big number that is, that's to say game on, guys. We want you to compete with each other to buy up as much as the Trump coin as possible. So this is utterly insane. And of course, this announcement coming out about an hour ago, we can just pull up the 24-hour chart, and here we see Trump coin just, moseying along, sleeping, being like very flat, very consistent. And I just want to add, there was an alert that in 3 days, this was on Monday, so today there was going to be a big unlock in Trump coins. So with the unlock, in order to mitigate the sell pressure, they make this crazy announcement that says, hey, it's a race to the top. This happens today. What are we looking at? 50% increase. It was over 60% at some point. And of course, if we go over to CryptoRank, we can see the unlocking Trump tokens. Look, unlock 2 rounds starting on April 23rd, which we have down here. This linear unlock 2 years, this linear unlock 2 years, that's 10%, 10%. If these are two different things, which they look like they're in two different baskets, according to this chart, we are looking at like 20% of the asset. So this is a massive unlock. And of course, unlocking into that means all of these early investors, their tokens are now liquid. They're liquid into this massive price rally. And what do you think they're going to do, guys? What do you think they're going to do? So this is just the latest and the greatest in the bullshit. And I mean, this is like a threat to the sovereignty of our democracy. It actually reminds me a lot of the prayer breakfast, which is sort of the opposite side of the Trump admin's support, right? The Christian right, the far right. And they use the prayer breakfast as a mechanism to bring foreign adversaries and people that are paying them close to sitting senators. It's actually the only vehicle in Washington that you can get enemies of the state close to sitting senators. So this is very much an updated version. You could call it the Web3 version of the prayer breakfast, but it's absolutely insane. You can see the grift, and I mean, the timing with the unlocks is just nuttery. So with that being said, guys, we live in very exciting times. May that volatility work out for you if you're going to be trading this on the daily charts. And as always, good luck out there, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.